military campaign that preceded it, which, if you go to that first press conference at 2:30 in the morning, where the president laid out the military objectives, we've made huge progress in achieving those military objectives and defanging Iran. We've got to stay the course. And the president, I think the Iranians came to the negotiating table because of that incredible military campaign, but also the belief that the president would be steadfast in achieving those objectives, which are simple. Number one, take away the military capability to harm Americans or harm our allies. I'm strong on it because ultimately, time and again, when this regime and the leaders in Iran have been given an opening, they have essentially not held true to the promises they've made. So I think we should be skeptical. This is a trust but verify, and the verify has to be quite strong.
Yeah, don't forget, they said that they didn't have long-range missiles. And
this moment captures a high-stakes shift in U.S. foreign policy, where military pressure, economic threats, and diplomacy are all being used at once. The focus here is a reported ceasefire with Iran, following heightened tensions around the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical naphtha shipping routes. What makes this especially significant is the combination of military action and economic leverage, including potential tariffs on countries supporting Iran. The key question moving forward is whether this approach leads to long-term stability or simply delays further escalation.
Welcome back. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth giving an update at the Pentagon moments ago as the U.S. and Iran agree to a 2-week ceasefire, hours before President Trump's deadline to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face destruction. Fox News can confirm that there is movement right now in the critical waterway of the Strait of Hormuz. Ships are passing through. President Trump said on Truth Social this morning this: the United States will work closely with Iran and are, quote, talking tariff and sanctions relief with Iran. The president is also warning any country that supplied military weapons to Iran and continues to do so will immediately face 50% tariffs on any goods sold into the United States. Joining me now is Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and the chairman of the Middle East Subcommittee. Senator, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And I know that I remind our audience all the time you are a combat veteran. You served in the Army's 82nd Airborne Division in Iraq during the first Gulf War. We are grateful for your service to this great nation.
Hey, good morning, Maria.
Give us your sense of where this war stands right now in this 2-week ceasefire and President Trump's handling of this negotiation.
Well, I think it was a great development. This wouldn't have been possible without the incredible military campaign that preceded it, which, if you go to that first press conference at 2:30 in the morning, where the president laid out the military objectives, we've made huge progress in achieving those military objectives and defanging Iran. We've got to stay the course. And the president, I think the Iranians came to the negotiating table because of that incredible military campaign, but also the belief that the president would be steadfast in achieving those objectives, which are simple. Number one, take away the military capability to harm Americans or harm our allies. Make sure there's no path for Iran to a nuclear weapon, and ensure that they can't hold the Strait of Hormuz hostage as a way to have leverage against its neighbors and the United States and others.
Yeah.
And in this negotiation, we'll have twists and turns. There's no doubt. We're dealing with a regime that's duplicitous, that has consistently lied, that's in disarray. But I think for the first time here, there's a path because of President Trump's leadership to a peaceful resolution.
Yeah, it's a great point that you make in terms of where we are, because repeatedly people that have spoken with me on this program about this have said the president must finish the job. The president cannot leave early, and the president cannot leave any doubt that they will regroup and build up weapons again. So what does that mean in terms of finish the job, in your view? We're in a 2-week ceasefire right now. Does the president resume in 2 weeks to finish the job?
Well, listen, I'm hopeful that won't be necessary. It seems that the Iranians have come to the negotiating table because the military campaign has been so effective. Up until just yesterday, an incredible demonstration of military capability, which has undermined a lot of their capabilities on the ground. I think the big open question will be uranium and their commitment. So we have to eliminate the ability and also the motivation. And so we need to make sure that there's no path to a nuclear weapon. We've taken huge steps with Midnight Hammer to set them back, but they have to essentially agree to that fact. And then second, they can't continue to even project the possibility of holding the Strait of Hormuz hostage. But I think there's a path through this, in large part because the president's...
At this stage, the conversation shifts toward evaluating the effectiveness of military action and whether it can truly deliver lasting results. Strong claims are being made about the scale and success of recent operations, but these statements require careful context. Historically, conflicts involving Iran and the broader region have proven complex and difficult to resolve quickly. The emphasis on eliminating nuclear pathways and securing the Strait of Hormuz reflects long-standing US strategic goals. But here's the key question for viewers. Can military success translate into reliable diplomatic outcomes, or does it risk creating only temporary leverage in an ongoing cycle of tension?
Efforts and his leadership in the campaign has been so successful to date. There's been nothing like it in the history of the world in terms of a military campaign that's been so effective. You mentioned the Gulf War, which I was part of. That lasted 6 weeks, and compared to what we've been able to do here, was very successful, but wasn't nearly the military display we've seen over the last 6 weeks in Iran. So I think we're well positioned, but I think it's going to take diligence to make sure we stay focused on those objectives to the very end.
Yeah, it's a great point that you make, and the president made the point as well, the fact that these wars that we've spoken about in the past, 2 wars in Iraq, I mean, these went on so long. We're talking about days. We're talking about a month so far, and the president was very clear when he said this will be short, and it has been. Now, I want to get your take on verifying but trusting. How will we trust and verify that Iran keeps its promises? The president said that they are engaging right now in talking about lifting sanctions on Iran. Will the U.S. be able to trust and verify that, in fact, they're keeping their promises, including not supporting terrorist proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas?
Well, it's going to be a combination of 2 things. I mean, we are incredibly sophisticated, along with our allies, of being able to track financial transactions and being able to ensure that Iran is not continuing to be the source of funding for terror groups around the world. But second, this is going to require, and this is going to be one of the things that we have to insist on, a level of transparency from Iran,
right,
that ensures that they're not doing the things that they had committed not to do, both the nuclear program and supporting terrorist proxies.
Okay.
We are in a position now, given what the president has done, to insist on that, and we need to stay strong on it, because ultimately, time and again, when this regime and the leaders in Iran have been given an opening, they have essentially not held true to the promises they've made. So I think we should be skeptical. This is a trust but verify, and the verify has to be quite strong. Yeah,
don't forget, they said that they didn't have long-range missiles, and then they sent a long-range missile to Diego Garcia. So,
Diego Garcia, right?
Exactly. All right, real quick, I got to get your take on your role in the Senate Banking Committee. Kevin Warsh is set to face the committee hearing next week, April 16th. His nomination to lead the Federal Reserve seems to be moving forward, but there's a lot of skeptics out there. One of my sources said, look, there's no path to a confirmation vote without a clear conclusion of the Powell investigation. Unless Warsh is confirmed by May 15th, the next catalyst could be the White House attempting to make changes. This process is unfolding alongside this ongoing probe into Jay Powell. Tom Tillis, your colleague, says he's not going to support the nomination. He's going to block it until the investigation into Jay Powell is dropped. Where are we on that, Senator?
Well, listen, as you know, I think Kevin Warsh was a spectacular choice by the president. I know him well. I think he'll be just the right reform-minded leader at a time of great change in the global economy. And boy, if there's ever a time to put the new Fed chair in place, it's right now when there's so much uncertainty in the world. So I'm very committed to making sure that we move forward on this. I think that we'll find a path through it. As you know, I don't think there should be criminal investigation of Jay Powell, whatever efforts there are to look into the misappropriation of funds or the inappropriate spending. That should happen through the Banking Committee. And I think we'll find a resolution through this. And it's too important not to, frankly. And so I'll look forward to that hearing. And I think he's going to shine and make it clear to all the senators, Republicans and Democrats alike, that we need his leadership now.
Yep. All right, Senator, we'll be watching your work certainly in all of this. Thanks very much, Senator Dave McCormick. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Overall, this discussion highlights the delicate balance between force and diplomacy in modern geopolitics. On one hand, there is confidence that recent actions have created an opportunity for negotiation. On the other, there is clear skepticism about whether commitments from Iran can be trusted or verified over time. The broader takeaway is that while short-term gains may be visible, long-term stability depends on enforcement, transparency, and sustained international cooperation. What do you think? Is this strategy a step toward lasting peace, or just a pause before future conflict? Share your thoughts in the comments. And for more clear, fact-based analysis like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.